Okay, guys, we are now getting ready to start our last and final panel for the day. You guys have survived. Give yourselves a hand. All right. So this panel is our solutions panel. And so what we're going to do here is provide you with information about some of our service providers here from the University of Cincinnati. We've got several of them that are sitting up here. We've got a number of them that are out in the audience. We're going to give those that are up here in the front row center here a chance to come in and discuss some of what they do. And after they finish their discussion, what we'll do is we'll open it up for questions. So if you have any questions or concerns about your data needs, data storage, data sharing, HPC, anything dealing with data, this is your time to be able to ask and get those questions answered by some of our experts. So up first, we're going to have Jacinda Dariotis to come up. She is a researcher with the University of Cincinnati Evaluation Services Center, and she will come up and talk about her role with that and also the innovation analytics.
Well, good afternoon, everyone. So I am Jacinda Dariotis, and I wear multiple hats at the university. So I'm director of the Institute for Analytics Innovations. I'm also director of the Evaluation Services Center, but my colleague is going to talk a little bit about that later, Audra Morrison, who's assistant director of our center. And I'm going to also defer to one of my colleagues who's also here, Dr. Chuck Sachs, who's also part of the Institute for Analytics Innovations and can also weigh in on some of what we're doing there. But predominantly, as you may know, that the university instituted and engaged in some initiatives to have cluster hires. And so one of those cluster hires initiatives was data analytics. So we have 6 faculty who are phenomenal in data analytics across 4 different colleges. So engineering, business, medicine, and education, criminal justice, and human services. And together we make up the Institute for Analytics Innovations. And back in October, I was announced as director of that institute. So we're new, but we're fabulous, and we're looking for partnerships. And what we have to offer is not exactly services per se as one would think about them traditionally, but collaboration and partnerships. So we have a wide range of expertise that has to do with text mining, data imputation, novel ways of looking at big data, intensive longitudinal data from all sorts of perspectives. And we are open for and seeking collaborations across the university, working with partnerships within the community. And this can be in terms of proposal development, presentations, publications, all those types of activities we are open for and ready to have people want to participate with us. We're also looking to create greater bandwidth within our institute in terms of collaborations and affiliates of other people who are interested in and exciting about data and innovations with data and how to utilize them, and present them to all sorts of audiences. So if you are interested in partnering with us and also becoming affiliated with our institute, we are very open to that and look forward to having those types of conversations. So that's us in a nutshell very quickly. Broad range of expertise. You'll be able to see once the Provost's website goes active, all of our profiles. Recently, we engaged in a university-wide initiative where we led 55 other faculty members in creating case studies and CVs to become qualified as a university in 13 different domains, and we hope to hear, knock on wood, hope this is wood, whether we become qualified in all 13 of those domains as a university, so that then we can seek and apply for research funding, so RFPs that are specific to only those who are qualified vendors within that domain. So that was a huge undertaking, and we have partnered with so many different faculty across the university and also research associates and staff and students to help make that RFP and that proposal go in, and so hopefully successful later this week. That just speaks to how broad our interests are in our expertise. So without further ado, I will turn this over to our next speaker, and then I'm sure there'll be a question and answer period afterwards.
Hello, everybody. I'm James Lee. I'm going to step over here so I can see my slides, so I can see what I actually wrote. If I can have the next slide, please. I am the academic director of the Digital Scholarship Center. It's a joint venture between the McMicken College of Arts and Sciences and the UC Libraries. We currently have research projects with pretty much every college at the university, including Children's Hospital. But what I'm mainly going to present today on is our service model. We are beginning to roll out a data mining and text mining services model. And I just explained here that our center has a hybrid model. For the first 2 years, we've been largely focused on R&D, grants, publications, etc. With the support, we recently received a $900,000 grant from the Angel Mellon Foundation to increase awareness and a culture of data mining, machine learning, and data visualization across disciplines, in unexpected disciplines. So, for example, we're working with the plant genetics lab and the bioinformatics cluster at Children's on text mining. These faculty members don't often work with text. We do computer vision experiments with CCM faculty, so we're trying to cross the wires with unconventional collaborations between colleges and scholars. And what I'll show you next is we specialize in unstructured messy data. A lot of faculty members come to us with very, very messy data, and we don't mind rolling our sleeves up and cleaning it for them. Next slide, please. So we are rolling out, with the support of this grant, a series of data mining services, and we're slowly ramping up. Most of our demand right now is in data cleanup and data structuring. A lot of faculty members, students, and staff come to us with data in unusable data formats, unusable data structures, etc. So we do part of the cleanup and data structuring, basic NLP, part of speech tagging, etc. We can accommodate different kinds of text mining, algorithms like topic modeling, vector space modeling. We do quite a bit of data visualization, and we are just dipping our toes into sound and video data parsing and analytics. Next slide, please. So just to show an example, this is an example of, if faculty members come with large data sets filled with, hypertext markup, if they want to clean it, if they need to use a certain R platform or a certain text mining algorithm that they need, it's structured a certain way. We're happy to do that so they can begin to ask their research questions. Next slide, please. Other faculty are interested in entity recognition and extraction, like persons, places, things, organizations, locations, money, etc. So we can accommodate that as well. Next slide, please. Topic modeling for semantic clustering. This is one of our bread and butter methods that we use for a lot of unstructured data sets like PubMed, Twitter, etc. Next slide. Here's an example of some word-to-vec analysis that we're doing with our plant genetics and children's collaborators, sort of 3D semantic clustering. Next slide, please. Network analysis is a visualization mode that we take a lot of metadata. Faculty members and students have come to us with metadata, and we help them visualize it for various publications and grants, etc. Next slide. Here's another example. The previous one was extracting entities and techniques from the method sections in PubMed articles. This is network analysis of Shakespeare's plays. So we accommodate very, very different kinds of data types. Next slide, please. The end result is we have a lot of demand for interactive data dashboards. Faculty that do not want to go behind the hood or are not necessarily technically savvy. So this is a Twitter data dashboard, for example, for faculty in the law school and arts and sciences that we created in D3 and JavaScript. We don't do a lot of work in Tableau. We do a little work in R, but if you want a customized data dashboard, that's one thing we specialize in. Next slide, please. Here's another data dashboard that we created for the English department in arts and sciences. And last slide, please. And here's a mapping dashboard along with a network analysis that we produced for a genetics lab. So this is just an example of, we are ramping up right now to support this large grant, and we take all comers. So if you have any large data sets, and you want to wrap your mind around its messiness or its string structure, and want to think about how you can ask research questions on this data set, please contact us. Our website is dsc.uc.edu. And our contact information is there. It's information about some of our projects and some of our capabilities. So thank you.
Hello, my name's Chuck Sox. I'm a faculty member, new faculty member in the Leonard College of Business in operations and business analytics. As Jacinda mentioned, I'm on the Institute for Analytics Innovation cluster for the university, so really enjoyed working with colleagues from across campus. And I'd be happy to talk to you about some things we have going on there. But I thought I would represent our college and some things we're doing in terms of business analytics. So we have a Center for Business Analytics that partners with local corporations as well as some nonprofit entities as well to bring together faculty, students in these organizations to leverage big data, data analytics for competitive advantage, and sometimes also for social benefit. So we operate projects, actual student projects that we run with these organizations. I'm actually teaching our case studies class this semester, so I have 14 teams of master students working on projects with different organizations, from the Bengals to Procter & Gamble to the city of Cincinnati. So it's very exciting, very fun. We also run workshops, training workshops periodically on R, Python, Microsoft Power BI, Hadoop, Spark, some of the data management tools as well. And then we have several public events that we operate throughout the year. You may have seen the advertisements for the Machine Learning Day, which we ran recently. We have our annual Analytics Summit coming up in May, where we have a number of very well-known guest speakers and then local people from local industry presenting on applications of data analytics for their organization. So I'd encourage you just to be on the lookout for the advertisements for those training workshops and those events. They're very good opportunities to network with people in the community. The public events typically are very well attended. We'll have anywhere from 200 to 300 people attending those events. They're usually held at the Sharonville Convention Center. And then our training workshops are held over on Calhoun Street at the U Square building. And we can accommodate usually about 25 to 40 people in those events as well. And then if you've got an idea for a project you think that a corporate partner might be interested in, or a nonprofit in the community, feel free to reach out to us. We see we can help make some connections there and see what kind of collaboration we're able to sponsor.
Hello, my name is Amy Koschhopper. I'm the science informationist with UC Libraries, and welcome, I guess, and I'm glad you made it through the day. And one of the reasons you are here is because you're all interested in data, and the library is here to support you with your interest in data. And I'm part of the Research Data Services group. Tiffany Grant is one of my colleagues there, Don Jason in the back as well, Ted Baldwin way in the back there. We all work as a group to help support your research interests and your needs around data services. And one of the great things about working in the library is we have a lot of friends. And you can see how many people came together today to work with us on talking about data. Some of the services that we offer in the library, we'll work with you on writing a data management plan. So you can come and consult with us, and we'll give you suggestions and help you get a data management plan that you can then actually turn into a working document, not just a piece of paper. We provide and think about getting more tools for you to actually do that. So we have tools like electronic lab notebooks that we support. Lab Archives is one product. The Open Science Framework is another. We want to help you get the full impact of your research, so we think about the metrics that you might want to have to demonstrate the impact of your work. One of those initiatives is our ORCID ID initiative. ORCID stands for Open Researcher and Contributor ID, and it's a way of giving you a way to track your research through different systems. Some other things that we do is we put on events like this. So we try to build community. This is one big community. We build other communities around informatics and around geographic information services. And we also offer more smaller sessions on tools and services, so things like the data visualization and data analysis workshop that was happening in the other room. We offer a lot of workshops, and you can find those on our website. And it's really easy to get in touch with us. All you have to do is ask data@uc.edu, and we'll get back to you as soon as possible. So, and that's all I have to say. Thanks.
I'm Jane Collins, and I've been up here a little bit. I'm not going to talk too much about what I do, but my group is kind of the liaison between researchers and students and our central IT department, because we do not have a research computing services separate wing. So our central IT provides the storage, the networking. So I try to translate the difference of research needs into those services, because it's hard for those people to believe that research is actually different than running an ERP system and networking and all that. So, but one of the things that we do have, we have our website, which is on the UCIT website. It's called Research and Development, and we try to connect you with any local, regional, and national resources. So instead of listening to me talk anymore, I'm going to have Chase, who's from the Ohio Supercomputer Center, and these are both, who's going to talk for us, are both HPC cloud resources that we have available here for free. Everybody hear that? So if you use Amazon Web Services, we've got a better option for you, and I can help you get you to those resources. So Chase, did you want to come up and say a few words about our really great resource that we have here in the state of Ohio, which is the Ohio Supercomputer Center?
Thank you, Jane. I appreciate that. Yeah, I have an interesting job. I work for the Ohio Supercomputer Center, and when I tell people that, they say, "Oh, I didn't know there was an Ohio Supercomputer Center." So I get to explain to them that we are real. We are located in Columbus, which is where the supercomputing clusters are, but we are a statewide resource. We are paid for out of state of Ohio public funds. So we are just as available to the University of Cincinnati and to any public university or college and private college in Ohio as we are to Ohio State. Because we're very close to campus, some people sometimes assume that we are just an Ohio State resource, and that's not true at all. One of the things that we do is we want to foster academic research in the state of Ohio, and as a part of that, we do lots of campus visits where we talk about, hey, we are a high-performance computing center, and you can access us, and we have ways that we can teach you to access us. We have a staff of about 20 people. 19 of them are very smart, and then there's me, who just goes out and talks about it. And those 19 people, their entire focus really is if you have a need that we can help with, they try to get you up and running. We have over 130 different types of pre-installed software, both open source and commercial programs. So a lot of the commercial programs do have academic licenses that you can access as well. And talking with Amy here this morning, Amy, and we were talking about these on-campus visits that we do. Amy's got one coming up this week.
Yes, indeed. Hi, I'm Amy from UCIT. I work with Jane, and we host Ohio Supercomputer workshops here every semester. And the upcoming one is on this Tuesday, March 13th. The morning session will be Langsam. It's Intro to HPC. 2 Ohio Supercomputer representatives, educators come down, so you're not learning this from me. And the afternoon is over on the medical campus, and it is Big Data Analytics and Spark. And they're hands-on, and you can register on the Ohio Supercomputer website, events page, or through the UCIT Research and Development page. Thank you.
Yep. That was just a perfect example of the types of things that we try to do, where we try to get out onto a campus and say, hey, there's this tremendous asset that's available to you, and we try to provide you all the background information and the registration policies and the registration tools to get you up and running on our system. So that's one thing to keep in mind. We also have a commercial side. One of the great things about OSC, the Ohio Supercomputer Center is that we add new clusters just about every 24 months, which means that we have 3 clusters running most of the time at any one period of time. So our older clusters are 5 or 6 years old, and our newer clusters, like the one last year, are pretty much state of the art. They have big data nodes, they have NVIDIA GPUs, so if you have a specific need for a high performance computing task, we'd love to hear from you, we'd love to get ideas, and we entertain people all the time with, hey, I'm just kind of thinking out of the box here. Is this something I might be able to do using one of your systems? And we love those things because it kind of forces us to think outside the box too, and try to figure out some creative ways to get people up and running on the system. And in addition to all the academic resources that we provide, we also are available to commercial companies as well on a pay-for-fee schedule. So please contact us if you have anybody that wants to work on the commercial side. The great things about upgrading your systems on a regular basis is as technology advances and we keep adding more and more cores, we have more and more availability on the system. So about 75 or 80% of the usage right now, I believe, is academic, and that means we have 20-25% of the systems that are available for commercial projects on a paid basis. So that's the Ohio Supercomputer Center. I've got lots of information here. I've got research reports with a lot of the stuff that we're doing there, both academic and commercial. So let us know how we can help, and I'll be around for a while if anybody needs more information.
Thank you, Jason. That did remind me that we do have within UCIT, we have an NSF-funded high-speed research dedicated network that will connect you up to Ohio Supercomputer Center, as well as most other, any research lab on in the United States, and actually internationally, at speeds of 10 gigs to 40 gigs per second, which I wish I had a great chart for you, but you can see that our commodity network is, I believe, about 100 megabits per second. So if you have big data and you need to move it somewhere, we can move it fast on this network, and that's one of the great connections with the Ohio Supercomputer Center. Our next speaker is George Turner. He's from Indiana University. He's the Chief Systems Architect for Jetstream, which is an NSF-funded cloud science and engineering cloud resource, and he'll tell you a little bit about that.
Like Jane said, I use Chief Research Systems Architect. I design supercomputers and research systems, but that's not what I'm here to talk about today. The National Science Foundation has funded the Jetstream cloud system, and it's a resource that's freely available to researchers in the United States. The idea when we originally architected this system was that we would have these virtual machines. Researchers would install their software and then make these virtual machines available to their colleagues. So we're not a big, large system, sort of like Ohio Supercomputing has, but if you need a system that's a little bit bigger than what you can run on your laptop, let's say up to 44 cores, these are the type of virtual machines that we run on Jetstream. So again, it's a free resource that the National Science Foundation has funded. If you've heard of Exceed, you're aware of these large supercomputing centers that they have around the United States, like NCSA or San Diego or Tennessee. Those large systems are only usable by about 3% of the researchers that the National Science Foundation funds. So what they're trying to do with Jetstream is to go for the rest of the researchers in the United States. Now, you don't only have to be associated with the National Science Foundation. We also have people that are affiliated with the NIH or Department of Energy or NASA. So all you have to be is a researcher in the United States with some credentials. We have various different kinds of allocations. You can actually get what we call an easy button, a rapid access allocation. This is just a couple of cores, a little bit of memory, and 1,000 hours on a CPU. You can get this in a matter of hours. You can go, I can't ever remember to write anything down or bring things, so if you Google Jetstream Cloud Computing, you're going to find it, okay? And there will be a link to create an account, or you can, there's a link to go to Jetstream directly. You can actually go to Jetstream without logging in, and you can see some of these images that have already been provided. There's a keyword search at the top, so if you're into bioinformatics, type that in, and it'll give you a listing of what's already available there. If you go to the click accounts, you can get these easy button accounts. You don't really need anything other than an Exceed ID, and it'll walk you through how to do this. To actually get on the system to do real work, you can get a research allocation, you can get a startup allocation, or an education allocation. So usually you start with a startup. That'll give you a year's access to Jetstream. All you have to do is write 3 or 4 sentences about what you're doing, attach a VD to it, and click send. In a couple of business days, you'll have access to Jetstream. The idea is that you use this startup allocation for a year to, if you're doing the big supercomputers, what you're doing is you're showing that your codes will scale to run on these big, large systems. Well, again, Jetstream is not really doing this large type of computing. So what you're doing for this first year with a Jetstream startup is showing that Jetstream is actually applicable to the work that you're doing. Then after 1 year's time, you would apply for a research allocation, and these just have to be reviewed annually. Essentially, all you have to do is show that you're actually doing something. I'm around if you have questions. Please feel free and stop me. I'm from actually around this area, so I'm always looking for a reason to come home from Bloomington. So, Jane?
Thanks, John. We will be, some representatives from Jetstream will be coming out here again March 22nd, 23rd for some training opportunities, some hands-on, so if anybody's interested, you'll see it. We'll post things out in e-currents and for your UC people, and also through the grad student notification. So, of course, we always encourage grad students to come and learn these tools. And some people say that grad students want to do the whole work, but I'm not really sure if that's true. And I wanted to point out Amy's shirt. Amy, can you show everybody your shirt? Sorry, since you stood up here. It says let's stay in. So, yeah. There you go. I think that's all that I have. So I think Jacinda's going to talk about the Evaluation Center. Okay.
So I also direct the Evaluation Services Center, which is a misnomer because we do both applied research and evaluation. And our website is uc.edu/evaluation services, and we're one of the best kept secrets around the university. We've been here since 1996, and not many people have known about us per se. We're housed in the College of Education, Criminal Justice, and Human Services, but we are fiscally independent of the colleges across the entire university. So if anyone applies for funding, let's say through NSF or other places that require an external evaluator, we are one of the external evaluation services, and we're right here, so it makes it easy for us to communicate and collaborate. We do a lot of different types of services. We engage in proposal writing, so if you need help with proposal development and proposal writing, we are here to help with that. And we also do everything from soup to nuts with data collection, data analysis, report writing, publication writing, as well as research design development, as well as statistical data analysis plans. So anything and everything to support one's research and evaluation we do within our center. So if you need our services or help, feel free to reach out to us at any point. So, and we have a one-pager that you can pick up at the end of our panel today if you so choose, or you can just look us up online.
So now that you've heard from all the panelists on the solutions panel, does anyone have any questions for any of the panelists or just in general about data?
specifically tokenization and art-to-speech tagging, that kind of thing?
It really depends on how much you know. If you know some Python, I recommend the Natural Language Toolkit in Python.
Okay.
Some faculty with no technical experience, there are out-of-the-box packages out there that have a user interface. But what I always recommend is set up we call it like a concierge meeting. We can sort of sit down with you and pair you up with a set of tools with your skill set. So whether you need a UI or if you do programmatically. We use Natural Language Toolkit in Python.
Okay, thank you.
Anyone else? I would ask if we could get the slide deck that was playing in the interim during the breaks to come up and play. That slide deck had a lot of information about some upcoming events that are dealing with data that you guys might be interested in. So I just wanted to put that up there. In addition to that information, there's also a link to a survey, which I would encourage everyone that is affiliated with UC to take. It is essential that we get an idea of what your data needs are, how are you using your data, how are you collecting your data, how are you saving your data, storing your data, because as service providers, that information is essential for us to continue to provide services that you need. And so I ask that you guys would take note of what you see up there. So the presentations and the events that are coming up, definitely if they're of interest to you, jot that information down. But also, as I said, the survey information that's up there, the URL of that survey, I do ask that you guys will take time to take that survey. With that said, I'm going to ask again, are there any more questions? This is my last time, I promise. Okay, so I want to thank our panelists for coming. Let's give them a hand. With that said, we do still have individuals in the South Lounge that are still going through the data visualization with Python workshop. But with that said, we're going to wrap up. Just want to thank you guys for taking the entire day and spending with the university libraries and UC at IT at UC. I do want to acknowledge the other people. I am not a team of one. Even though you guys, I'm sure it's hard to see it in my face, this was definitely a group effort. So I would ask that everyone that was on the team that is present, if you guys would please stand up. So, just want to acknowledge each of you by name. So we have Amy Koschoffer here, Lori Harris, Jane Combs, Amy Latessa, Don Jason. In the back, we have Debbie Tanofsky and Ted Baldwin. Also not present, Leslie Schick, who is the director of the Health Sciences Library and the Senior Associate Dean for University of Cincinnati Libraries. Is not here, and Bill McMillan, who is our data guru for the day, who is teaching the workshop, is back there busy right now. But let's all give them a round of applause. I would also like to take the time to thank those individuals that are involved with conference and event services. Without them, you guys would not be here. So, Kate Marsden, Florine Postel, as well as Adam Wiles and Adam number 2, who are affectionately labeled, have all been really great to provide the facilities, the food, and all of the things that you see here that we've been able to take advantage of today. So let's give them a hand as well. And last but not least, one more thing just to mention. I've already said it again, well before, please do take one of the surveys and fill that information out before you leave. They're back there on the back table. So we can have information about what your needs are and how you thought this video did actually make us through our third time. We do plan on getting bigger and better with your help. So we do ask that you fill out that information. So with that, unless anyone else has any burning thing to say about data, we are going to shut down for the day. Thank you.